Hey, welcome back to this edition of The Daily Show. I'm here with Barnett Berry.
That's right,
From
Ron.
North Carolina, founding director of the Center for Teaching Quality.
You got that right.
And he's done Barnett's done a lot of interesting things in that role. I think he's moved on. I think you're actually teaching in South Carolina now.
Well, first of all, I'm not moving on from the nonprofit I founded, which is all about igniting change from inside the school system. But I'm also, with all our work that we're doing in South Carolina now, we're a national nonprofit, has led me to some work with the university there, and how a Research One university and all its assets can be marshaled together to serve the needs of high-need rural communities.
Okay.
So that's some of the work I'm going to be doing back in my home state of South Carolina.
Well, I'm so glad you could make it to this third national summit on micro-credentials. Have you learned anything yet today?
Well, yeah, yes, I have. And the good news, I try to learn something every day. And what I learned today is that everything that we need to do to improve professional learning for teachers so we can get better learning for kids is being done somewhere in Kentucky. And we just hadn't put all the pieces of the puzzle together yet, Ron. But there's solutions in that room, touted, examples touted. We just got to figure out the right way to get it together so we can serve every kid well.
Yeah. Well, in your several years of experience with the center that you created, what are some of the things that people need to understand about providing quality education in rural school districts?
Well, one is that there is expertise and talent in every community. We just haven't capitalized on building the capacity for folks from inside communities and schools to support stronger public education. So that's number one. Number two, there's no question rural communities that are isolated have enormous challenges because of their isolation. But we also have new ways with technology to bring the world to the outside world to rural communities while maintaining the integrity of that community and helping young people and their families in those communities learn about the outside world. And by the way, the new economy, you know, all you need is some bandwidth. And by the way, we got a lot of work to be done to bring bandwidth to our rural communities so everyone can participate in this global economy. But I think the solutions are within our reach. We just got to do a lot of political will building to make sure that we get those services and supports that kids and the teachers who serve them need every day.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned about how the talent is here, the brains are here, because the key in economic development, as we know, in community development, is to build on your assets, and the greatest assets are your people. So the same way in education, to build a better school district that's going to serve its students and communities even better, is to build on those strengths.
Well, and that's why this KVEC convening around micro-credentials is so powerful and important, because what we haven't done sufficiently in public education and in supporting teachers is creating opportunities for them to lead their own learning based upon the assets that they've already developed. We typically drop new ideas, programs, and information on teachers and expect them, irrespective of their context, to just implement it as someone else decided for them to implement it. Micro-credentials create a way for teachers to organize themselves and their knowledge and spread their expertise to each other. And I'm hopeful that we can get there in my lifetime, because we've been at it a long time.
Well, you know, our economy has changed, as you just mentioned, and the new economy, which based on technology. So many of our students are going to have jobs that they have not been created yet, or they're going to have to create their own jobs. So what are some of the things that we need to do to help teachers facilitate that learning in our students?
Well, it's a simple premise. If we want kids to kind of develop communication skills, critical thinking skills, use the new technologies and applications to spread what is known or to build new knowledge, if we want kids to do that and be able to come out of high school and then go into community college and college being able to do those sorts of things, darn well we better have teachers engaged in that same type of learning. So I would say mirror professional learning for teachers in ways that reflects right back on the way we want to engage kids in their own learning. So that means teachers are learning from and with each other, not just being workshopped to death.
Yeah.
It means teachers are studying problems of practice and not just looking at a spreadsheet and trying to get a test score up in the next quarter. It means teachers are looking to each other, irrespective of where they teach. Could be somewhere down the road, across the Commonwealth of Kentucky, or even around the world that you might find a colleague who can help you get better. And the work that KVAC is doing with its virtual communities is a model, I think, for rural America and rural public education.
Well, former U.S. Secretary of Education Arne Duncan talked about the need for wraparound services for the schools to be able to do more in community development. Right now we have a lot of young people, students, elementary, middle school, high school kids that are basically doing work, you know, getting paid for while they're in schools and after hours. What can we do to facilitate a different way of thinking about workforce development and not focus just on out-of-school youth or people after they're out of high school, but to be doing that training for them for jobs that they're basically creating as already?
I would say every child beginning in middle school ought to have a meaningful mentor in the outside world in some form or fashion, and they ought to have some meaningful externship that I know you're beginning to do with the KVAC collaborative. But we need every child to have that. And we need a funding structure and an organizational structure and a partnership structure that will allow that to happen. And I think we can do it, but we got to also have our systems of higher education, our systems of K-12 education, our economic development agencies, our social support agencies, all working together. We know schools make a big difference in the lives of children, but at the end of the day, 80% of the variance in student achievement is due to outside school factors. So schools are important, teachers are the most important inside of schools, but we still need that whole community support to give kids a fighting chance to live the life they deserve as precious human beings.
And so to get that business community very involved is a key part in terms of the apprenticeships and whatever mentoring. Of course, in some rural communities, you don't have that many businesses. So then that's a special challenge.
It is a challenge, but and again, in a lot of communities, I was just I was talking to someone earlier today about the lack of bandwidth in certain schools, even in urban communities.
Yeah.
This is a chief academic officer in an urban school district we're working with, and there's bandwidth problems there. But you can imagine in rural communities, we still haven't. We've got to get bandwidth. We got to. This is where government matters a big deal, a whole lot. We need investment from our government to create opportunities for kids to learn and contribute to the economy, and contribute. By the way, I'm looking at you and I'm putting a mirror to my face, and to contribute to our Social Security. As you know, we need more workers in the workforce to kind of help us old people in a few years from now kind of stay afloat, right?
Yeah. So are you excited about the future of public K-12 education now in North Carolina and Kentucky and other states you're working with?
I am, and it's kind of almost hard to imagine sometimes, because there's a lot of not so good stuff out there. There's a lot of chaos in the system. Unfortunately, while we've had, I think, much needed infusion of outside ideas and entrepreneurship in public education, and I'm a big fan of that. At the same time, you've seen some folks with a little bit too much avarice on their mind get their hands on public dollars for private gain and not for public good. So despite all that, I see, and I'm going to mention this tomorrow in my talk, I see more and more teachers getting more actively involved in trying to transform communities and transform their profession. 1 in 3 teachers in this country is in some type of external network, learning from another teacher. 7 in 10 of them are using new technologies that allow them to connect to other teachers they would not otherwise. And related to this topic here that we're talking about at Quebec, 3 in 4 teachers are already in some type of informal learning that's not being counted by their systems. That bodes well for a very active group of teachers in this country who can lead the way. We just need some structures and supports to accelerate the opportunities that they need to have so they can give kids the opportunities they need.
Oh, great. Well, hey, you're doing great work, and
Well, no,
appreciate you being with us in
Well,
Kentucky.
I appreciate being with you, Ron. I love your radio and television voice. I wish I had one like that.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you.